Hello everybody, welcome back to Its Current Year for another quick battle ladder, well not a ladder replay, a fan submission from friend of the channel, Saltier Than You, up against the might of RTK's Bob Tresh on Oaken Hammer. We've got the Lizardmen and the Beastmen, the Silence and the Fury, and there's a few Silence and the Fury, well there's one Silence and the Fury unit here in Malagor the Dark Omen, who has seen a little bit of a rework. The Lizardmen are pretty much as they were prior to this, so we're going to take a look today and see if the who wins, the Silence or the Fury. But the Silence today is, of course, Lord Mazdamundi instead of the little cheeky little Oxyotl. But for Bob Tresh's force here, it's quite wide. A number of skink cohorts with javelins on the flanks, backed up by some Saurus with shields in the main line. So very sturdy, grind their way through a lot of fights that you might otherwise think they would lose, just because they have really great HP per model and pretty decent leadership. 4 units of Pterodon riders in a bit of a forward deployment here. Always I think a better option than Chameleon Skinks in this matchup, because obviously the things like Centigores and Hounds can compromise Chameleon Skinks, and they were obviously the subject of a little bit of a nerf with Poison being changed a little bit. So Pterodon's still a very strong unit regardless. 2 units of Feral Cold Ones on the flanks here, just for a little bit of screening, most likely. We've got a Solar Engine in the back, and then Mazdamundi up on Zlark. He has taken obviously all his bounds and his bound spells, Shield of the Old Ones, but he's also got Apotheosis and the Net, as well as the Sunburst Standard for the missile resistance and melee defense. So let's have a look at Salty's forces, and it's a nice big wide Beastmen 20 stacks of 1500 cowmen on the field here today. We've got Blackhorns Ravagers, as well as a number of other Gorsh herds with shields on each flank. We've got a front line of Ungor Spearman herd, so pretty cheap, just a bit of filler unit they can be thrown in. They're basically just protecting the Ungor Raiders, 5 of them in the back. Really good in this matchup, because despite their somewhat poor missile strength and lack of armor piercing, just the sheer amount of shots they get does add up. And with obviously a few anti-large elements in double Gorble here, don't believe either have taken any items or anything. No, just looks like just Slaughterer's Call on this Gorble here, and then a unit of Chaos Warhounds in the back here for a little bit of harassment. And in the air we've got Malagor, who is alongside 2 units of Harpies. So Malagor's got a fair rework in this DLC. He's now got quite a nice sort of range of spells. He has the Wild and the Beast's Law passives, both actually very good passives for sort of spam casting. And he's come in with Doom and Darkness, Enfeebling Foe, and the Cygor Summon. So an interesting, as well as Arcane Conduit, obviously. Interesting array of spells. Probably going to try and get some rear charges with just his sort of the width of the force here, and then maybe try and trigger some routing in that way. But the Pterodons are going to come forward, and they are going to spot the Blackhorns Ravagers, and obviously all the Ungors here will get seen ahead of time as the Solar Engine starts to tee off. So he's going to want to try and get probably some rock drops here on the Ungors, and they're just making a beeline for the main fighting. A little bit of damage on that rock drop here. I'm not sure if he's going to get another one here, but the skink cohorts with javelins teeing off with their jabs into the Blackhorns Ravagers and the Gore herd here, as some Harpies are clipped. And Mazdamundi's coming right up for a look at the action early. Maybe not trying to get a cycle charge in, whilst the Gorbals are sort of back behind the lines. But a Ruination is going to come down nice and early, and getting some great RNG on that. Both of these units have also taken some damage from it, and this Ungor unit may just shatter straight off the bat. Yeah, it's negative leadership, and there's a nice follow-up here with some skinks coming in to compromise the Ungors. It's kicking off on this flank as well. The Feral Cold Ones have been sent in. The Blackhorns Ravagers are probably going to make pretty quick work of these skink cohorts, and the Shield of the Old Ones has popped. Saurus going to hold the line pretty comfortably against Ungor Spearmen, but there are 2 Gorbles here, and they're making a beeline for Mazdamundi. Their goal in this game is going to be pretty clear. Looks like another unit of Ungor Raiders was cycle charge down by the Pterodon riders, but a good response here from Salty with the Poison Warhounds. Has actually taken a few Pterodon models off, and likewise here, throwing the Pterodons into combat, and I like this. They do cause fear, and they aren't the worst melee combatants, so they can get some work done pretty smartly there. But the Gorbals have made their way in. Mazdamundi is backed up by quite a lot of Saurus here, who do have some anti-large with their spears, but Apotheosis and Enfeebling Foe both going down here, so his stats are pretty garbage at the moment, Mazdamundi, but he's getting some healing, and he does have the potential to heal himself back up. Banishment coming down here on the Ungor Raiders. The Ungor Raiders have really taken a fair bit of work early on, as we see some great work by Brobtrash here, not allowing these Ungors to come back. He may actually just be able to shatter both of them, and the Feral Cold Ones rampaging here into the Warhounds and getting a nice little pick up too. So if we take a look, a bit of an overarching look, I think things at the moment are going reasonably well for the Lizardmen. The 4 units of Saurus Warriors are very healthy, and they're not really going to care too much about Ungors. Goreheads may get a little bit of damage off them, but the Cygor Summon here, being used in combat, may be able to break this unit off, and the weight of numbers here may just be able to pull a few of the Saurus Warriors down, while the Gorbals absolutely just hammer into Mazdamundi. So there's a spell effect coming down here. Mazdamundi's netting down. Look at the AoE bug at play here, but with Shield of the Old Ones going down here to give the Saurus Spears, and a net here just to give him some wiggle room between these Gorbals, who are both just absolutely making a beeline for Mazdamundi at every opportunity. It looks like another Cygor is going to come down here. I'm not sure if that's going to be able to do much to Mazdamundi. Ruination coming down. Oh, looks like it was maybe cancelled. This Cygor has started using its boulders, which is not the worst use. The Saurus Warriors were quite clumped up there, and they do manage to rout them off. But Mazdamundi here, really with all the Beastmen infantry having suffered a fair bit of damage, this one's quite fresh out here, but is going to want to look to just rotate between the Saurus Warriors with spears and try and just get terror outs. Leave the Gorbals in his wake, have them fight the Saurus Warriors as much as they can. They'll hold them in place reasonably well, and they'll get nice little bits of chip damage away as they try and sort of chase him. So now the Gorbals look as though they're heading out for the Bastiladon with Solar Engine. It's got 55 kills so far, so it may have accrued a little bit of value, and this is what I mean. Just getting terror outs wherever you can, assisting the Saurus Spears, letting them grind it down, and these Saurus Spears will just basically pull away. But I guess this Cygor can throw its boulders, but I'm not sure if a lot of value was accrued over these two Cygors, considering the Winds of Magic cost. But Mazdamundi now, has nothing really to fear from these gore herds or anything like that. So basically what Bob is probably going to look to do here is trying to bring these spears back together. I'm not sure what the Pterodons are. Oh yeah, there's Pterodons. Still a full health unit of Pterodons out here, another one out here, and this is a really good play. Just not letting the Ungors come back. There's another unit out here, in fact. The Harpies look like they've just been given an attack order to chase them all game, and these Ungor Raiders have really gotten nothing done so far in this battle. So Feral Cold Ones are going to probably be able to see off these Gore Herds on the charge. But there's a lot of Saurus Warriors here. 60 Saurus here, 46 here. Mazdamundi's just probably buying as much time as he can, maybe to get Shield of the Old Ones off cooldown here, and just to keep pumping Apotheosises into himself, to keep himself well stocked for HP. There is a big Overcast Doom and Darkness going down here, so he's probably going to get one. Yeah, he's going to get one Saurus routed off here. Don't know if the other one or Mazdamundi are going to be able to be routed off with that Doom and Darkness, but I like the thinking here. But the Gorbals now, with that one unit of Saurus chased off, another one replacing them back here, but he's running out of room to move, and the Gorbals definitely can sort of pin him down, as we see. Looks like another Ruination is going to come down and do a fair bit of damage to some Gores. Probably going to take some Saurus Warriors with it as well. But now the Pterodons are back. They have expended most of their ammunition, but they're going to be needed in combat here, I dare say, to probably just try and give Mazdamundi some breathing space from these Gorbals. That's pretty much where the game lies. If Bob can kill or rout these Gorbals, if he can rout them, the Pterodons should be able to chase them off and make sure they can't rally. And if you can kill them outright, even better, because then the balance of power might force army losses. But at this stage, it's looking a little bit thin on the ground for the Lizardmen. The Saurus Warriors, there's some tattered remains, but they probably aren't going to have the leg speed to get back and actually help Mazdamundi at this point, but did wait for Shield of the Old Ones to come off cooldown here, so the damage resistance and leadership getting buffed, and he comes in for a bit of a cycle charge, maybe popping an Apotheosis down, so he is up above 2000 HP, probably combined about what the two Gorbals are sitting at, but the anti-large armor-piercing attacks here, and with some shots coming in from some Ungors, this is probably not looking great for Mazdamundi. He's going to need some luck with RNG. He does manage to bowl both of the Gorbals over, so he may be looking to pull away now and try and get on these Ungors. They do actually shatter. That's one element of Bob Tresh's game here that he has done brilliantly well. Looks like there's a solar engine shot coming off down here in the distance. It has rallied, but it's fine. It's so it's probably not too impactful over there. Another Apotheosis coming down. He's probably going to get reasonably close to his healing cap here, Mazdamundi, but just over 1k HP. Needs a good attack here on the charge, and looks like he does not get it. And I dare say, with any attacks coming down here on Lord Mazdamundi, it may push into the balance bar into a point of no return. He will, I think, be Doom and Darkness here. That's a great use of Doom and Darkness. He was probably going to die anyway, but that's forced his leadership down the drain. And with him broken, the Pterodons will also break. And that will be army losses. And a great game by Saltier Than You. Good game by Bob Chesh too. That was a really close one. Definitely great use of his Pterodons. They're, as I said, I think a little bit more risk-free in this matchup, given that the Harpies did reasonably well here. Actually, the Harpies did very well in this matchup. That's great value from the Harpies, and they were able to keep the Pterodons sort of at bay for portions of the early game. But Chameleon Skinks with Centaurs and possibly Hounds running around, and even just all the Beastmen infantry here being fairly cheap but shielded. Can be a little bit of a risky pick, and Beastmen are one faction that can shut Chameleon Skinks down reasonably well. Pterodons, on the other hand, a little bit of a trickier proposition for them, and the rock drops can be. I don't think we saw too many really punishing rock drops, but rock drops on Ungor Raiders can pretty much one-shot them. But regardless of that, I mean, you look at the value here: 20, 62, 300, 380 for the last one there. I mean, that's hardly, between the five of them, you've hardly paid for two of them. So really good play by Bob to get them routed early and ensure they stay routed. But a pretty wide infantry line here, managing to just do what they needed to do against the Saurus. Pretty good value accrued on all those Saurus, and the Skinks have done their job. One of them did manage to rush in and also, I think, compromise an Ungor unit. But you look at the way they've traded. I mean, the Gors in this matchup have just been a lot more cost efficient. They haven't really spanked the Saurus Warriors' own damage values, but when you consider that shielded Gore costs 550 and shielded Saurus with spears costs 800, it's that you put a win. You put one in the win column there for the Gors. Ungors, basically just there to give you some width, basically just to buffer out that front line. But the Gorbals were the real winners here. And it's good to see, a unit that's kind of been the brunt of many memes, particularly with their lack of mass. I don't think we actually saw the Gorbals get punted once in that match, not from what we were looking at anyway. But yeah, both well and truly over 2,000 value. They're pretty cheap. I think they're only about 1,000 points each with all their items stripped back, apart from Slaughterer's Call on one of them. And Malagor basically just sat in the air and was an interesting tech piece. Not sure if the two Cygor summons really netted their value back on Winds of Magic, but the Doom and Darknesses were good. Did force a few routes from Saurus Warriors, and even though the game was going to end, I'd say anyway, with the Gorbals probably killing Mazdamundi, that Doom and Darkness at the end just to push him into route did tip the balance of power right off the edge. So, Mazdamundi's still, I don't think Mazdamundi's going anywhere. Oxyotl seems to be a fairly strong pick, and I think with the strength of the Skink Oracle in the hero slot for Lizardmen, it's going to bring maybe a lord like Krokgar maybe a little bit more into the fore. But Lizardmen definitely in a very, very strong position at the moment, but it is good to see the Beastmen back in the game. And I think, notwithstanding a couple of bugs, which Salty, being a gentleman, hasn't really made any use of here. No trader kin, no busted chariots or anything like that. But it's good to see that. Yeah, the Beastmen. I think they're just a very, very competitive faction. I don't think they're really in the upper tier of factions on the back of this DLC. But they're in a good spot. They're in a good spot competitively now for tournament play, and you're obviously seeing a lot of it on Quick Battle. So thank you very much to Salty and the New for sending this replay in. He did send me a couple in, so there might be a few more on the channel in the coming weeks. Well done to Bob Trash, very, very good player, and a very, very good Lizardmen player as well, one of the better Lizardmen players in the community. So a very handy win by Saltier than you. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you soon. Take care.